Once again, Christopher Tufton, Dr. Christopher Tufton was in St. Thomas, where he stopped by the Princess Margaret Hospital, Barrant Health Center, and the Isaac Barrant Health Center in Anthem Court. So today, we're on the ground again, covering this.
Right? Well, you're going well. Alright. I can't say good things that happen in public health. Are your representation to all of that?
Excellent. Both of us.
Alright.
And Minister using the opportunity to also push through for the upgrading of the dietary.
Yeah.
So we are presently at a temporary dietary. That's, I'm not sure if you're able to see, right?
Yeah, man.
Alright, so we have, we know. So apart from able the perimeter right here, our ownership will be on the wall.
So I want to do an assessment and see if we could pilot it here. That would make a lot of sense. Yeah?
But there's 23 acres outside of the fence that we have as the hospital. And there was a plan in earlier years to actually put studios, 1 bedroom, 2 bedroom, 3 bedrooms. So you can have different categories of staff. So we have 23 acres of land.
Yeah.
And you have that on compound. We also have 5 acres in Summit where we have the SMO's residence, quite a lot of land space that we can also capitalize on as well.
Right now, the shopping is washing machine and landfill. Alright, come. How many surgeries do you hear?
Cases we try and complete about 6 cases.
6?
Yes. About 4 of those are going to be all matter related. Alright, so per week we do about 6 cases and 1 kg and another 4 and about 10 per week. It's about 40 for the month.
40 surgeries.
Made and
But I'd love to see it just being
This is the current residence. It's 30 houses.
Who lives there now?
I would say about half, because we now have our inspectorate is here.
Hi. How are you? I give you the AC to right? Alright, we're gonna sort it. Don't worry. Hey,
Yes, sir.
your government, has created Second Chance Smile, New Live, New Life,
I know.
Jamaica Moves, Compassionate Care, peer branding programs, what you have to say about that?
I love my government.
You love it.
I love my minister.
Alright.
He believes in them.
I like to hear when people refer to the brand. Second Chance.
Yes, I love him.
Yeah, 2 chairs in here. So we have 3 chairs. What is it that you need here now?
This is not working.
Need an X-ray.
This is not working.
So we're facing this unit because it's
Okay.
not working, and and the beautiful thing about it is that the people don't have to come all the way to Morgan.
Right.
This here, though, isn't it?
So we can expect a new and refurbished dental facility.
Right.
Okay, fair enough. And your dentist here is a champion of that, right?
Right. Big support.
Hey.
Thank you.
Kind of smile.
All right. Thank you very much. So, a lot of discussions have been taking place about the potential that is now unleashing in the parish of St. Thomas, most notably the unveiling of the urban centre, which is really a beautiful structure that will consolidate various services. In recent times, a highway that allows for easier access to the parish, significant announcements around housing that the Most Honourable Prime Minister has commented on in recent times. St. Thomas, the parish, is taking off in a really significant way, and it's one that we have to be proud of as the people of St. Thomas, and certainly as a government. who has helped facilitate this expansion. In health, we have to also prepare for that, because what it means is that we will have to be more responsive to the needs of the people and a growing population which has started and will only be expanding. I'm really proud of what the team is doing here in that regard, because over the past 9 years as minister and as an administration, we have seen the parish of St. Thomas and the health services in St. Thomas being expanded, both at the primary level and at the secondary hospital level. This particular hospital, the only of its kind in the parish, Princess Margaret Hospital, has seen several positive changes which augurs well for the additional and other related expansion in the parish. For starters, it's a 142-bed facility, but we have seen more doctors and nurses than any time before, from 12 doctors a few years ago to 39 doctors based on compensation review, which means more people to serve the parish, more medical staff. We have seen an expansion in nursing from 127 to 152 posts. And what that has led to is more access to services. So for example, emergency services are now 24 hours, and it includes surgeries where necessary. So people living in St. Thomas don't have to, if they have an emergency up to a certain point, they don't have to be transported to KPH or to some other entity outside of the parish. That's a very positive development, which I believe augurs well for the expansion of the institution into the future. Services like laparoscopic, minimal invasive procedures, ultrasound, and of course, as I said, a 24-hour emergency service are all worth noting as very positive developments. We're seeing, as you would have seen earlier, the new morgue that is being built, the expansion of water storage, 150,000 gallons, which is now under construction, which will give greater resilience to the functioning of the institution. And there are plans for additional things to come, which again will enhance the facility, like the new sewage treatment plant, which has already been projectized and is now working through the system to be developed. In addition to that, it's a much more comfortable environment with air conditioning of most of the buildings, including A&E. So patients can wait with some degree of comfort, even though of course they're seeking relief from their distress, which is why they come to a hospital. And a staff that I think are quite friendly and an environment that is very homely. We still have some challenges. It's always a work in progress, and so we do not pretend that it is perfect. And so we have to work on filling some of the posts that are available. I am told, as is the case across the country, that even though we have posts for some specializations, like in nursing, there are challenges in filling those posts, like a midwife or midwifery, operating theater, emergency room. These are specialized nurses. This is one of the reasons why I went to India and the Philippines recently. And this is why we have the Barrant scholarship to support greater training in these areas, because human resources continues to be a real challenge, particularly in some of the rural parts of the country, like St. Thomas. So this is a work in progress that we have to continue to build on and to expand over time. All in all, I think that what we are seeing is some very good developments in the parish of St. Thomas. And I want to reassure the residents of St. Thomas that in terms of healthcare and healthcare delivery at the level of the hospital, secondary level, we are building out commensurate to the build-out that is taking place in the other areas to ensure that St. Thomas remains and is enhanced as a place to live, to work, and to enjoy family and recreation. So that's my initial comments. If there are any of my colleagues here who wants to comment further or any questions, we can respond to those questions now. Afterwards, I'm going to comment on the case of the doctor. Yes, sir.
Okay, question here. You spoke about upgrading the facility and the next need to go outside of St. Thomas for help. Now, I'm just wondering, as a type C hospital, how far are we from going on?
Right. So based on the developments that are taking place here, with the additional services, as I've outlined, with the additional doctors, nurses, the operating theatres, we have two major ones and the minor one that is now being overhauled, which will become almost a major theatre. The facility here at Princess Margaret is well positioned to be upgraded to a Type B hospital. Would you say? I can ask our SMO to comment on what else may be needed to make that a reality. But I certainly, as minister, am working towards that because I think with everything else that is happening in the parish, this is the next logical step, given population expansion, given the needs of the community. And the fact is, this facility has the land space, it has the environment, and it has the quality of service to be able to easily transition to that.
Just to add to what the Minister said, one of the two other things, important things we need upgraded is our X-ray unit and the provision of a CT scan in the parish. We have never had a CT scan machine at our institution, and so any patient in an acute illness requiring a CT scan would need to be transported outside of the parish. And especially in an emergency, that poses a problem with ambulance and access to the facility where they are going. So it is going to be a game changer for us.
And that is in the making. Right?
It is in the process. I'm certainly hoping the process continues to get our new X-ray machine in addition to our CT scan machine that will be operated on a 24-hour basis because our radiologists are also going to be trained to execute CT scans, and we make arrangements certainly for the radiologist to provide a CT scan report in a timely manner. So those are the two big things that's going to change.
So
Can you give us your name, please?
And Dr. Right.
Right.
Senior medical officer.
Yes, sir. So basically, I would say then, for the record, that we are now moving actively towards an upgrade for a Type B facility here in the parish of St. Thomas. And as the SMO said, we have already projectized the procurement of the CT scan and the digital X-ray machine. I will ensure that I follow through on that. These are now becoming the norm, not the exception in public health under this administration. In fact, we just secured and deployed 6 very high-tech digital X-ray machines in Western region. 2 at Falmouth, 1 at South, 1 in Hanover, and 2 at Cornwall Regional. And that is now going to be the standard. In the future, not too long from now, I will comment on a leasing arrangement that we're entering into, where these machines will not just be purchased, but will be leased and accompanied by servicing, which means that the downtime will be minimized, because a big part of the challenge is really keeping those machines working once they are secured and placed in institutions. So I can say that we're moving towards a Type B upgrade. A lot of work has already been done. A lot of work is in the works, being done, and I can say with confidence that this institution will be here to support the expansion of the parish in the other areas, population, service delivery in other areas. And you can remain confident that the government is going to work with the team on the ground, with the political representatives, to ensure that this takes place. I want to make one other point if there are no other questions. And this is particularly for Alger because your station has been talking to me and trying to get to do an interview on this matter. So you would recall that we had an incident involving a political representative who tragically and unfortunately passed at the institution here. The issue became a source of controversy, which led to an investigation being triggered by the health authorities as through the region and through the ministry's head office. The report on the matter has been completed. That report has been returned to the regional health authority and to the central ministry. There are some discussions that are taking place. The family was met with and the report explained. They have, as I understand it, engaged a legal team to continue the dialogue. And in response, of course, it is now a legal matter, and so the legal team on the side of the ministry will also similarly have to engage that conversation. What it will lead to, I don't think I should preempt and say. I would prefer to allow that process to take its course. You know, it's unfortunate the way the issues have evolved, and certainly unfortunate that the victim, you know, met his demise under the circumstances. And I think that there are some lessons to be learned from the fact. But out of respect for the family and for others who are involved, including the institution, and the need for a hearing of sorts to be had, which may have legal implications, I prefer to reserve any further comment until that process is completed. Okay? All right. Any other question?
Housing facilities.
Always?
Housing for health staff.
Okay. Right. That's a good one. Thank you for reminding me. So we have you may have heard the most honourable Prime Minister speak in his budget presentation on the need to create housing for staff. And this is particularly important in the rural parishes. The St. Thomas clearly is rural, but getting increasingly urbanized with all the new developments. But this Princess Margaret Hospital is well positioned based on the land space to accommodate housing for staff. It's quite a lot of land, and there, I am told, well over 25 acres that are unoccupied, meaning no building, green space. And there is a further property close by here, which was originally intended for staff members. There is a property on campus now which houses 30 staff, but I believe we could do far better and increase that complement by expanding on housing accommodation. So what I've asked to be done is a projectization of the housing needs, not just now but into the future. Let us do some costings on it, and I believe right here in this parish we could pilot or certainly place as one of the parishes where we could easily construct housing for staff and accommodate it without much logistics challenges because of the green space that we still have. So I have asked that to be done, and I will follow up with the region to work with the local team here to ensure that it's done. Hopefully we can get that done in the third term. That's for you, the third term. Nobody can argue.
I can
We
tell
have
you
done
that's a
more to upgrade primary care facilities than any other government, any other married, none. And this is evidence of that. I mean,
Every time I come here, I feel good.
I can imagine that patients are happy to come.
Yes.
So where you're standing though is actually outside.
Yes, I
So
recall.
we expanded it forward so
Yeah,
that
the
it's
wheelchair,
comfortable
brand
area.
new wheelchair. Look at the wheelchair. Look at that. Yeah? People who need help. Lovely and nice. Rich, nice. What I've noticed, that more people are actually going to the center than before. In fact, year over year, about 300,000 visitors.
I know that this one has.
I'm sure they'll go to the list of hospitals. That's exactly
What you
right.
want.
That's your move.
That's right.
All right.
Hello.
I have it.
And one for Langley and one for here. So 25 K. Which is good. Especially when you have a picture of this. This is awesome.
In capacity for the health center. That's how we do it. So JPS or no JPS, we function for the people, right? Part of the resilience. Right? Lovely.
Yes.
Excellent. And a nice color too.
Excellent color.
Yeah. You can come back. Well, sit down. You can sit down, have lunch, wait.
This is the remnants of one of these. This was a maternity center back in the 1960s.
Right.
Because
How are you?
Tell them how happy you are. Tell them how happy you are with your work space.
You know this gentleman? You doing very well? He doesn't hang around here too much. He don't come around here much.
You'll be back. You'll be back.
How long have you been here?
They do cases for Princess Barrant, like the minor cases. So even for the other parishes,
What do you offer here?
personally we offer curative services, family health services, including immunization, antenatal, postnatal, pap smears. We do oral health services here. We have a nice dental facility here. We have our environmental health team here. Malaria was like a problem back in the old time days because of the swamps that surround here, but we've been managing to control the mosquito. They're not for these. We thank you for those vehicles we got in 2020 about there. We got 4 vehicles and we were able to put the ULV machines on them. So it's a combined effort and we're grateful for that. But I came here no, what's half of our so our old hospital, so we just need to front of it and convert it to some of the wards into clinic space. And we also have our special diabetic retinopathy screen here. So Casey I think has 1, we have 1 and St. Catherine has 1. Services. The doctor's offices are outside of it. So this is actually the old cabinet was a hospital. So we added this room to it to be this one is
Oh.
the space outside where you have spaces. We because everyone
So we are now at the Isaac Barrant Health Centre. I'm here with Member of Parliament, Councillor and our Health Parish Manager. And I've gone to Port Barrant before. Port Barrant, as you know, was recently refurbished. Very proud to say that it's well used and increasingly so since the refurbishing, which is what we want. We want more people to go into our primary healthcare facilities. It's a beautiful facility, fully air conditioned, more services, backup generator was just installed, new car park, really well laid out and really what a community health center in modern times should look like. And part of our refreshing of our health centers to shift the visitations from hospitals to health centers. And we're actually seeing tangible evidence of that, which suggests that the policy is in fact working. We are seeing more Jamaicans going to our health centers, so that's a very good thing. Outside of that, we are at Isaac Barrant here, and this facility, as you know, was built back in 1966 by the late great Isaac Barrant, who was Member of Parliament and Minister of Agriculture, a man who came from very humble beginnings and was supported by the populace and earned himself significant votes in the general election back then, and then rose up to become a key leader in the community. Built this hospital, which is named after him, handed over to the community. Over time, it went down in terms of support, in terms of infrastructure, in terms of maintenance. As you can see behind me, it's now being well used as an important community health center with intentions of continuing to upgrade it. So we have on the cards and taking place, we're going to be upgrading the dental facility, for example, replacing chairs. We're going to be enclosing the areas that are open
putting in air conditioning units so we create a more comfortable environment for the team. We're looking at the old abandoned operating theater with the intention of putting it back into use, if for no other reason but for day surgeries, because we do have demands for that. And in terms of the building generally, there are some open spaces that we are now reoccupying for waiting areas, for doctors' quarters, so that we can offer more full service support here at the facility. The building is solid, and therefore it's really a matter of just reconfiguring and overhauling and putting in the necessary infrastructure. So it currently is being used in a very significant way. We think it can be used in a more significant way, and we're committed as a government to making it work. Again, this is all in keeping with our thrust towards the renewal of primary health care. You may recall that last year we tabled in the Parliament a primary health care renewal policy document, which looks at additional services at the health centers, refurbishing, overhauling, building more health centers. And that program is actively being pursued now. And you're seeing evidence of that in the parish of St. Thomas. So I want to thank the team. It's a very good team out here. They work hard. They do what is needed to be done. Tomorrow, I should add, we're going to be having our Know Your Numbers program right here at Isaac Barrant. So that's a advertisement for tonight into tomorrow, where we intend to treat with, I am told, between 800 and 1,000 residents who will pass through these grounds to get free screening, blood pressure, blood sugar, BMI, eye testing, cholesterol testing, and all the other, the HIV and so on. It will be a fun activity here. And again, it's part of our outreach to screen. I'm going to say something that's maybe a little controversial, but nevertheless, it is the time for comparisons. The opposition leader in the Parliament, when he spoke, gave the impression that nothing is happening at the primary healthcare level, and that his government, in the unlikely event that he forms government, would be focusing on increased screening because we're not doing enough. He clearly forgot the Know Your Numbers program, which will be evident on display tomorrow, where over 1,000 people we expect to come and get screened. The government has conducted almost 300,000 screenings over the last year and a half under this program, separate and apart from what happens as a routine in our hospitals and our health centers. And we have identified persons who, based on their health profile, require follow-up. We have provided the support for follow-up, for more testing, and in some instances literally save lives, because we have had cases where a person's blood pressure was so high we had to move them from the Know Your Numbers location to a hospital for care. I've seen a few examples of that, and the same could be said for blood sugar level, where it was so out of control that those persons would likely have some sort of tragic event and end up in accident and emergency. So the Know Your Numbers program is a very credible program since it was launched. It is active, and it is active here in St. Thomas and will be on display tomorrow at Isaac Barrant. And I will urge all to come out, no matter what your political persuasion, despite the fact that we're in the political season. When it comes to health, we treat everybody and we take care of everybody. We don't make any discrimination against anybody, including the opposition leader. If he's in the area, he can also pass through and get his blood sugar and blood pressure checked. But we are proud of the team, and I want to thank the team for being here. And again, this is part of my regular visitation across the parishes. Today is St. Thomas stop, and I must say that the parish is working to keep abreast with the other development projects that are taking place, so that health services remain relevant and adequate to serve the people of the parish. Thank you.
Mr.
Yeah.
Can you update us on the future plans for this facility?
Okay, well, I just went into a couple, but I'll say it again. There's going to be a refurbishing of the building.
In terms of stepping up to a hospital state.
Right, so I'd said to you that the operating theater that is here, we intend to refurbish that operating theater, which will mean adding more doctors, including surgeons, whether they are working between Princess Margaret and here, however the schedule is, so that we can treat with patients here up to surgeries. We do intend to look at whether we can do some overnight stays here, right, Parish Manager? And so once we get into surgical procedures, emergency procedures, and some additional bed space, then it means that Isaac Barrant will become a small community hospital again. And I think there's adequate reason why this should be the case. So listen out for more developments, but it has started and will continue until we get to where we want to be.